I think I just have a better understanding of what I'm in for. A lot of new artists come in and they think it's all glitz and glamour. And
She stayed silent for years, but now Toby Keith's daughter is setting the record straight. His daughter held on to a truth she's only now ready to share. What she just revealed will leave fans stunned. Join us as we unravel the truth you've been waiting to hear. Crystal's revelation. Country music icon Toby Keith passed away in February 2024 at the age of 62, just 2 years after being diagnosed with stomach cancer. He rose to fame in the 90s and was widely recognized for his popular songs such as Should Have Been a Cowboy, How Do You Like Me Now, and Red Solo Cup. Toby's impressive career led to his posthumous induction into the Country Music Hall of Fame only weeks after his passing, having been chosen for the honor while he was still alive. Although he had much to be proud of during his life, one of Toby's 3 children, Crystal Keith, enjoyed joking about her father's career, often telling people he was a plumber. She shared that she thought everybody's dad had a job like her dad. He might as well have been a plumber. Most people eventually learned the truth, but Crystal continued the playful ruse. She even went so far as to tell others that her plumber dad was named Mark. However, she sometimes strayed from the script. Her second favorite thing was to say Garth Brooks, because they already knew he was a singer, she explained. They were expecting Toby Keith, and she'll say her dad is Garth Brooks, she told the outlet. She never wanted to give them what they expected. Toby Keith probably wasn't upset about his daughter, Crystal Keith, downplaying his highly successful career. In fact, he and his wife, Trisha Lucas, who are also the parents of Shelley and Stellan Koval, provided their children with an incredibly normal childhood, despite the extraordinary fame they experienced, according to Crystal. It wasn't like their lives changed drastically. It was just the things they were able to afford became a little bit different. Her mom wasn't stressing about things like when the light bill was getting paid, she told Fox News Digital. Crystal also shared that during her childhood, the Oklahoma family lived in a trailer at one time. Toby, who was familiar with the trailer park lifestyle, paid tribute to his years in a mobile home with his 2010 song, Trailerhood. It's unclear how long Crystal and her siblings stayed in a trailer, but since Crystal was born in 1985 and her dad didn't achieve fame until the 1990s, it was probably their home for more than just a few years. She mentioned that she was 8 when he landed his record deal and released Should Have Been a Cowboy. They saw their lives change a bit, but her dad remained the same person, dedicated to his work and confident that everything would turn out fine. She also noted that her parents kept her grounded, regardless of what was going on with their finances. But there's more to Crystal Keith than just being Toby's daughter. From her own music career to the values she lives by, she's carving her own path in a big way. Let's take a closer look at the woman behind the headline. Crystal Keith. Crystal Keith was born on September 30, 1985, to country singer Toby Keith and his wife, Trisha Koval, née Lucas. She has a younger brother named Stellan Keith Koval and a half-sister, Shelley Koval Rowland, who was adopted by Toby after he married their mother. Crystal's first entry on the charts came in 2004 when she sang duet vocals with her dad on a cover of Inez and Charlie Fox's Mockingbird, which was featured on his 2004 album Greatest Hits 2. They also performed this song together at the 2004 Country Music Association Awards. After the release of this song, Crystal went to college at her father's urging and graduated from the University of Oklahoma. In mid-2013, she signed with Showdog Universal Music. She released a 4-song EP that included her debut single, Daddy Dance With Me, which she wrote as a surprise for her father and performed for the first time on her wedding day. This song is part of her debut album, Whiskey and Lace, which was produced by her father and Mark Wright. The EP received a good review from Daryl Addison of Great American Country, who described her as a confident young singer with a strong voice. The second single from Whiskey and Lace, Get Your Redneck On, was sent to country radio on September 30, 2013. Keith started dating Andrew Robert Sandebre, the founder and president of Sandebre Energy, LLC, in 2004. They got married in 2007 after dating for 3 years and have 2 daughters together. On May 11, 2024, Keith received an honorary degree from the University of Oklahoma on behalf of her father, who passed away from stomach cancer 3 months earlier. As Crystal Keith grew older, she started to follow in her dad Toby Keith's footsteps in the country music scene. Crystal got her first experience in the industry when Toby included her in his 2004 song, Mockingbird, which they performed together at the CMA Awards that same year. In 2013, she launched her debut album, Whiskey and Lace, under her father's label, Show Dog Nashville. This album featured the song Daddy Dance With Me, which she first played for her dad at her wedding to Andrew Sandebre in 2010. In 2018, Crystal released an EP called Boulder, but then quietly stepped back from the limelight. Crystal shared that her father was always there to support her choice to pursue music. He was always very supportive, but he was hesitant about letting her go out there too soon. Worried she might not handle the pressure, she explained. Her father told her she has a strong personality and people will say she's the best in the world or the worst, but she's neither. She is somewhere in the middle. He further mentioned to her that she needed to do her thing and not worry about what others think. Although she hasn't been active for a few years, she made a comeback in August 2024, performing her dad's hit song Don't Let the Old Man In during the Toby Keith American Icon TV special. Crystal shared that her choice to participate in the event was something she really had to ponder. The selection of the song was also quite challenging for her. She noted that when the producers approached her with the song Don't Let the Old Man In, she was already emotional just from hearing it. She expressed uncertainty about how she would perform it. She felt grateful they chose it, as it ended up being really meaningful. She believes her dad would have been proud of the outcome. Toby, who passed away from stomach cancer at the age of 62, had much to be proud of regarding his family, which includes Crystal, her sister Shelley, her brother Stellan, and Trisha, his wife for 40 years. Although Crystal mentions that the concert special might have come a bit earlier than she and her family anticipated, since they are still cautious about stepping into the limelight, she understood it's also something that would have made her dad proud, as everything came together in a way that felt truly Toby Keith. The 2-hour special showcased performances by Underwood, Bryan, Eric Church, Ashley McBride, Lainey Wilson, Darius Rucker, and others, each putting their unique twist on Keith's greatest hits. For Crystal, having such a vast collection of her dad's work to lean on during tough times has been a huge comfort while she grieves. She shares that she and her little girls, Kirby and Hensley, listen to Toby's music all the time, as it helps them feel connected to him. She mentioned that what helped her shift from feeling sorry for herself to being grateful was Ashley Campbell. After Glenn Campbell passed away, she said she felt fortunate to have his music to turn to, recalling moments when his voice would unexpectedly play on the radio while she was out shopping. She appreciated having all those songs, lyrics, and interviews to reflect on, feeling thankful for that. A part of the ticket proceeds from the concert, filmed at Nashville's Bridgestone Arena, will support the Toby Keith Foundation's OK Kids Corral, a free home for families with critically ill pediatric patients, and will also benefit Monroe Carell Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt, a leading children's hospital in Nashville. For Crystal, knowing that the show had a purpose made everything worthwhile, as Toby was always about helping others. It is uncertain if Crystal intends to release new music, but after her father's passing, she posted on Instagram that she will always honor him and referred to him as her hero. Of course, none of this can be told without mentioning the man who started it all, her father, the unforgettable Toby Keith. Let's take a deeper look at the icon himself, Toby Keith. Toby Keith Covell was born on July 8, 1961 in Clinton, Oklahoma, to Carolyn Joan and Hubert K. Covell Jr. He had a sister and a brother. The family lived in Fort Smith, Arkansas for a few years when Keith was in grade school, but moved to Moore, Oklahoma, a suburb of Oklahoma City, when he was still young. Before the family moved to Moore, he visited his grandmother in Fort Smith during the summers. His grandmother owned Billy Garner's Supper Club in Fort Smith, where Keith became interested in the musicians who came there to play. He did odd jobs around the supper club and started getting up on the bandstand to play with the band. He got his first guitar at the age of 8. After the family moved to Moore, Keith attended Southgate Elementary, Highland West Junior High, and Moore High School, where he played defensive end on the football team. Keith graduated from Moore High School and worked as a derrick hand in the oil fields. He worked his way up to become a supervisor. When Keith was 20, he and his friends formed the Easy Money Band, which played at local bars and roadhouses as he continued to work in the oil industry. At times, he would have to leave in the middle of a concert if he was paid to work in the oil field. In 1982, the oil industry in Oklahoma started to decline quickly, and Keith soon found himself without a job. He relied on his football training and tried out for the professional Oklahoma Outlaws. When he didn't make the team, he joined their unofficial semi-pro farm club, the Oklahoma City Drillers, where he played defensive end while still performing with his band. He then shifted his focus back to music. The Easy Money Band began playing at honky-tonks across Oklahoma and Texas. Keith traveled to Nashville, Tennessee, where he played music on the streets of Music Row without much luck, until producer Harold Shedd signed him to Mercury Records after a flight attendant, who was a fan, gave him a copy of Keith's demo tape. Keith's first single, Should Have Been a Cowboy, hit #1 in the U.S. Billboard Hot Country Songs chart in 1993 and reached number 93 on the Billboard Hot 100. This song was the lead track on his self-titled debut album. The album was certified platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America for selling 1 million copies and produced 3 additional top 5 hits on the country charts: He Ain't Worth Missing, A Little Less Talk and a Lot More Action, and Wish I Didn't Know Now. The success of the album led to Keith touring with his label mates Shania Twain and John Brannon. Additionally, Keith and Twain appeared in Tracy Lawrence's music video for My Second Home in 1993. Keith then signed with Polydor Records Nashville and dropped his second album, Boomtown, in September 1994. Made up entirely of original songs, the album had 1 chart entry with Santa I'm Right Here, which climbed as high as number 50 based on Christmas airplay. Keith then signed with the short-lived Nashville division of A&M Records to launch his third album, Blue Moon, in April 1996. That album earned a platinum certification and produced 3 singles. Its first single, Does That Blue Moon Ever Shine on You?, which Keith wrote back in 1987, peaked at number 2. Next up were A Woman's Touch at number 6 and Me Too, which became his third number 1 hit in March 1997. Keith also featured on the Beach Boys' now out-of-print 1996 album Stars and Stripes Volume 1, performing a cover of their 1963 hit Be True to Your School with the Beach Boys themselves, providing the harmonies and backing vocals. After a corporate merger, Keith went back to Mercury in 1997. His 4th studio album, Dream Walkin', was also his first, produced by James Stroud, who would continue as Keith's co-producer until 2005. It produced 2 consecutive number 2 hits with We Were in Love and a cover of Sting's 1996 single, I'm So Happy I Can't Stop Crying. Sting also provided duet vocals and played bass guitar on it, and the two performed the song together at the 1997 Country Music Association Awards. Following this song, the album's title track reached number 5, while Double Wide Paradise peaked at number 40. Keith's final release with Mercury was Greatest Hits Volume 1, which came out in October 1998. This album featured 12 of his earlier singles along with 2 new tracks, the country rap song Getcha Some and If a Man Answers. Both tracks were released as singles, with Getcha Some making it into the top 20, while If a Man Answers was his first single to not reach the top 40. Keith mentioned that these 2 songs were initially intended for a studio album, but Mercury executives, unhappy with the album he had created, decided to include those songs in a greatest hits collection and told him to go work on another album. After recording 2 additional songs that the label also rejected, he requested to end his contract with them. Once he left Mercury, Keith collaborated with Chuck Cannon and Costas to co-write Shane Minor's debut single Slave to the Habit. In 1999, Keith signed with the Nashville division of DreamWorks Records, where Stroud was the president. His first release under this label was When Love Fades, which also did not make it into the top 40. After noticing the single's lackluster performance, Keith asked for it to be pulled and replaced with How Do You Like Me Now? This song, which he co-wrote with Chuck Cannon, had been previously rejected by Mercury. The song was the title track of his first DreamWorks album, How Do You Like Me Now? It topped the country charts for 5 weeks and marked his first entry into the top 40 of pop music, peaking at number 31 on the Hot 100. Additionally, it was recognized as the top country song of 2000 by the Billboard year-end chart. The album achieved platinum certification and included a top 5 hit called Country Comes to Town and another number 1 hit titled You Shouldn't Kiss Me Like This. This was also the first album where he collaborated with Scotty Emmerich, who would continue to work with Keith on several future albums. Steve Huey noted that this album had a rough and bold vibe that helped Keith establish a stronger identity as a performer. In 2001, Keith received the Academy of Country Music's Top Male Vocalist and Album of the Year awards. After this album, he released Pull My Chain in August 2001. The 3 singles from this album, I'm Just Talking About Tonight, I Want to Talk About Me, and My List, all reached number 1 on the country charts, with the last 2 holding that spot for 5 weeks each. I Want to Talk About Me, which was written by Bobby Braddock, also incorporated a country rap style with its spoken word lyrics. The Country Music Association awarded My List the title of Single of the Year in 2002. Regarding Pull My Chain, Erlewine commented that this is a bigger, better record than its predecessor, possessing a richer musicality and a more confident sense of humor. In 2002, he put out the Unleashed album that featured 4 singles. The first one was courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, The Angry American, which Keith wrote in just 20 minutes as a reaction to the September 11, 2001 attacks. This song mentions Keith's dad, a U.S. Army veteran who tragically passed away that March in a car accident. Both this track and Who's Your Daddy hit number 1, while Rock You Baby made it to number 13. The final single was Beer for My Horses, a duet with Willie Nelson that spent 6 weeks at the top of the country charts. At that time, it was also Keith's highest position on the Hot 100, reaching number 22. In July 2003, Keith guest starred on Scotty Emmerich's debut single, I Can't Take You Anywhere, which he had previously recorded on Pull My Chain. Emmerich's version became his only top 40 country hit, landing at number 27. Shock and Y'all, his 8th studio album, came out in November 2003. The title is a play on the military phrase shock and awe. It became his 2nd album where all singles reached number 1. Later in 2004, he released Greatest Hits 2, which included 3 new songs. Mockingbird was one of the songs which he recorded as a duet with his daughter, Crystal Keith. Stays in Mexico hit number 3 on the country charts, while Mockingbird peaked at number 27. Keith's last album with DreamWorks was Honky Tonk University, released in early 2005. The first single, Honky Tonk U, reached number 8, and then came As Good As I Once Was, which topped the charts for 6 weeks, followed by Big Blue Note at number 5. After this release, DreamWorks Records shut down. On August 31, 2005, Keith started a new label called Show Dog Nashville. The first album he released under this label was White Trash with Money in 2006, followed by the soundtrack for Broken Bridges. He also decided to work with Cannon's wife, Larry White, instead of Stroud as co-producer. This album featured 3 singles, Get Drunk and Be Somebody, A Little Too Late, and Crash Here Tonight. In 2007, he released Big Dog Daddy, where he was the sole producer. The singles from this album included High Maintenance Woman, Love Me If You Can, and Get My Drink On. Notably, Love Me If You Can became Keith's first number 1 hit since As Good As I Once Was over 2 years earlier. Later in 2007, he released a 2-disc Christmas album titled A Classic Christmas. In 2008, Keith wrapped up his biggest and baddest tour. On May 6, 2008, he put out 35 Biggest Hits, a 2-disc compilation that included most of his singles up to that point, along with a new song called She's a Hottie, which peaked at number 13 on Billboard's Country Songs chart. In 2008, Keith released She Never Cried in Front of Me, which hit number 1. The album that came out after that, titled That Don't Make Me a Bad Guy, was released on October 28, 2008. This was followed by another #1 hit, God Lover, and the song Lost You Anyway. In 2009, his album American Ride produced another #1 with its title track. This was followed by the top 10 hit Cryin' for Me, which was a tribute to his friend, basketball player and jazz bassist Wayman Tisdale, who passed away in May 2009. On January 13, 2021, President Trump presented Keith with the National Medal of Arts. This award was given during a private ceremony where he was joined by fellow country musician Ricky Skaggs. On September 28, 2023, after being honored with the first Country Icon Award at the People's Choice Country Awards, Keith took the stage for the first time since announcing his cancer diagnosis in June 2022. His rendition of Don't Let the Old Man In, which was featured in Clint Eastwood's 2018 movie The Mule, earned him a standing ovation. Keith's last performance took place in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Park MGM on December 14, 2023. His final studio recording was part of Hixtape, a tribute album to Joe Diffie, where he collaborated with Luke Combs on a version of Diffie's song Ships That Don't Come In. In March 2024, just a month after his passing, it was revealed that Keith would be inducted posthumously into the Country Music Hall of Fame, having been elected only hours after he passed away. Keith also featured in a series of TV ads for Telecom USA, promoting their discount long-distance service. Additionally, he appeared in Ford commercials, performing original songs like Ford Truckman and Look Again while driving Ford trucks. Keith wrote and starred in the 2008 film Beer for My Horses, which is inspired by the 2003 hit single Beer for My Horses that he recorded with Willie Nelson. In 2005, Keith launched Toby Keith's I Love This Bar and Grill in Oklahoma City and expanded to other places, although Keith did not own these new restaurants. The latest one is the first in a franchise under the Scottsdale, Arizona-based Capri Restaurant Group Enterprises, LLC, which acquired the master license agreement to establish more Toby Keith restaurants across the nation. Capri Restaurant Group is owned by Frank Capri, who opened the restaurant in Mesa at the shopping center known as Mesa Riverview, and plans to launch multiple locations throughout the country. In 2011, Keith launched a new beverage called Wild Shot. Initially, it was only sold in Mexico, but it is now available in America as well. This drink is a highlight in his restaurant chain. Keith's success in music and his various business projects have made him one of the richest celebrities in the U.S. The July 15, 2013 issue of Forbes magazine features Keith on the cover with the title, Country Music's $500 Million Man. The article, titled Cowboy Capitalist by Zach O'Malley Greenberg, also discusses Keith's earnings as a musician throughout his career. For instance, he made $65 million in the last year, which is more than even famous artists like Jay-Z and Beyoncé. Keith has written at least one country hit each year for over 20 years, and he has a partnership between his label, Showdog Universal, and Big Machine Records, which he co-founded in 2005. In 2002, Keith had a public disagreement with the Chicks, previously known as the Dixie Chicks, regarding the song Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, and comments they made about President George W. Bush during a concert in London in March 2003. Natalie Maines, the lead singer of the Chicks, openly criticized Keith's song, calling it ignorant, and it makes country music sound ignorant. In April 2008, there was a plan for a commercial to promote Al Gore's We campaign that included both Keith and the Chicks. Unfortunately, the project was dropped because of scheduling issues. Keith tied the knot with Trisha Lucas on March 24, 1984. He had 3 kids, one of whom is Crystal Keith. Tragically, Keith's father, H.K. Koval, lost his life when a charter bus crashed into his car on Interstate on March 24, 2001. The Koval family received $2,800,000 for his wrongful death on December 25, 2007. The operators of Rodriguez Transportes of Tulsa, Elias and Pedro Rodriguez, along with the Republic Western Insurance Corporation, were held responsible for not having the bus equipped with properly functioning air brakes. Keith earned an honorary degree from Villanova University, where he studied from 1979 to 1980. He had aspirations of becoming a petroleum engineer. A huge fan of University of Oklahoma sports, Keith was frequently spotted at Oklahoma Sooners games and practices. He also loved professional wrestling, often seen in the front row at various WWE events in Oklahoma, and he performed courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue Live at the inaugural TNA wrestling show on June 19, 2002. Additionally, he supported the Pittsburgh Steelers football team. He identified as a Free Will Baptist. In 2004, Keith was one of the founders of Allie's House, a cancer charity named in memory of Allison Webb, the daughter of one of his former bandmates who sadly passed away just a month before her 3rd birthday due to Wilms's tumor. Then in 2006, he started the Toby Keith Foundation to create housing for pediatric cancer patients and their families. By late 2013, the foundation had built the OK Kids Corral, a place for young cancer patients from OU Medical Center to stay. Over the more than 20 years since it began, the annual Toby Keith and Friends Golf Classic has raised over $15 million for the OK Kids Corral. He told the Oklahoman in 2019 that this was his biggest achievement. Keith also filmed a public service announcement for Little Kids Rock, a national nonprofit that aims to bring back and improve music education in underprivileged public schools across the U.S. In June 2022, Keith revealed that he had been diagnosed with stomach cancer at the end of 2021 and had been going through chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery for the last 6 months. He mentioned in a press release in December 2022 that his fight against cancer had been pretty debilitating. Sadly, Keith passed away in his sleep in Oklahoma on February 5, 2024, at the age of 62. After the news of Keith's passing, Oklahoma's Governor Kevin Stitt ordered that U.S. and Oklahoma flags on state property be flown at half-staff all day on February 6 until sunset the next day, as a sign of respect and mourning for the loss of the American music icon Toby Keith. On February 10, 2024, the University of Oklahoma men's basketball team played against their rivals, Oklahoma State. To honor Keith, they gave out red Solo cups with any drink purchase, inspired by his song, Red Solo Cup. Videos of fans singing Red Solo Cup while raising their drinks went viral on social media after the game. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.